All right, Darren, here we go. It is tournament time in the Southern Conference, and we're just going to jump right into it, looking at the first games on Friday, starting with the 5 p.m. matchup there at Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville, and that's the Chattanooga Mocs taking on the Citadel Bulldogs, the 8-9 seed. And this is a situation where it's the rubber match, basically. So the Citadel able to get the victory on the road there in Chattanooga, and then Chattanooga says, well, hey, we'll get one back for you here. We'll blow you out there in Charleston. And so now we get to see how these two teams match up there in Asheville. And I think ultimately what we saw in both of these teams, how they finished out somewhat relatively strong. Chattanooga did a really good job finally able to score the basketball. We know injuries have been a big part of their season. But I think at the end of the day, when you look at this matchup, it's definitely going to come down to three-point shooting from my perspective. I think both of these teams are going to put up tremendous numbers in terms of volume. We've seen that consistently, but are you going to be able to defend the perimeter? I think is going to be a big part of this matchup.
Yeah, Richmond, I think you're exactly right. And consistency is really the theme there. I think both these teams have been wildly inconsistent throughout the conference season. And I think this one really is going to come down to consistency. And so what I look to for the Citadel is when they've been at their best, they've gotten really good contributions out of Adebisi, and Logan Applegate has played
No
well.
doubt.
And they've gotten, look, that's not to say that there are other guys in the lineup that have not contributed. But I think when they get to that next level, it's when those two guys are stepping up and getting into double figures. And especially, I think those two guys are such keys because you don't have much interior presence outside of Adebisi, and you really need a second guy on that perimeter along with Braxton Williams. And so I think those are really the reason why those two guys are so key. And if those guys play well, I like the Citadel here to go get a win if those two guys contribute. But when I look at Chattanooga, they've got to be efficient offensively. These are two well-coached teams. Dan Earl does a great job, especially offensively. And so if they can be efficient and they can get 4 or 5 guys in double figures, which they have done much more consistently over the last 2 weeks, this again, I don't necessarily think this is a team that's going to be able to go out and put it together for multiple days because of the consistency factor. But this is a team that if they have some guys that I think have been much more inconsistent than they anticipated when they brought them in, this is a team that has illustrated they can score some points. And if they're going to score 85, 90 points, they're going to have a distinct advantage in this game because I just don't think the Citadel, even if they get 4 or 5 guys or 3 or 4 guys in double figures, I don't think they're going to be able to outscore Chattanooga. So I look for them to have that consistency outside of, Jordan Frison, who has been even gotten better as the conference season has gone on. He's on a little bit of a heater right now. Look, can they turn the Citadel over? The Citadel has been prone to turn the ball over at times. And you and I talk about it all the time. You get live ball turnovers, it's a killer, absolute killer.
Yes.
And so I think in that respect, the Citadel's got to control the tempo of this game. They really want to be able to dictate the tempo, a little bit more methodical, grind it out, efficient just efficient offensively for them. And so, I think if they can do those things, they being the Citadel, I do like them to win this game.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to pick the Citadel of all things right now, just based on what I'm seeing with them. And I do think a key player outside of Shola Adebisi, who you've already talked about, and Logan Applegate, you could throw Carter Kingsbury into the mix there also. But you even said his name, Braxton Williams. I think the Citadel is at their best when he gets going. Now, the problem is that once teams figure out that Braxton Williams is on a heater, like Furman was able to do, and understand that, okay, we got to shut this guy down. And that's when you start seeing some of the drop off because other guys aren't able to contribute. But in that Wofford game, the Citadel, they put up some points too, 93 points. Now, it was in overtime, but Shola Adebisi had a career day. And so if you can have some of that type of production, and then the Citadel, if they can hit some shots, and if Chattanooga is relatively cold from the perimeter, I think the Citadel's got a good opportunity of winning this game. Now, if it comes down to close game at the end, look out for Chattanooga because they're a really good free throw shooting team. So they have the ability to score some points there. But do they have the interior size to be able to compete there with Shola Adebisi, because he can also be a rim protector. So I think we're both on the same page, though. This might be a 9 seed upset there, 8-9, as the Citadel Bulldogs could get this win, and I do think they will. All right, shifting to game number 2, tipping off later that evening on. So shifting to game number 2, UNCG VMI there on Friday, and the question mark, Darren, this is all we have to ask. Justin Neely. Because I don't care what anybody says. If you don't have Justin Neely, you're not going to be in a position to put your best foot forward. Now, not to say UNCG can't go out there and win a game without Justin Neely. I felt that they did play very aggressively there against Samford and stayed within that game. They closed it out in terms of getting an opportunity to be within one possession in the second half, but ultimately just not enough for them in that game against Samford. And so now, if you don't have Neely, and there's also thoughts that KJ Younger might be in a situation where he's not going to be 100%. So we're still trying to figure all of that out. But I'm telling you, that's a big blow for UNCG not to have the nation's number 1 total rebounder. Yes, Justin Neely. That's a big blow.
No, it's huge because, I mean, you said it. Like, the guy he's Mr. Everything. He's averaged, he's 12 rebounds a game. He's averaging 20 points a game in league. This guy is the engine that makes them tick.
No doubt.
And so if he's not healthy, not only do you lose the points, but you lose your energy guy. You lose your on-court leader. You lose a guy that can get to the free throw line. I mean, this is a major, major blow if he's not able to play. And also if he's not 100% healthy, puts a significant question mark in this game as well. I mean, VMI has had their fair share of blowout losses this year, but they have remained competitive in some of these games.
Yes.
So, I mean, I certainly think this is a game that UNCG, if they have their horses, wins handily. But as you mentioned, if they don't have their 2 top players healthy, I mean, we've got a complete curveball scenario here, and all bets are off. And look,
no doubt,
we haven't talked about him a ton lately, but TJ Johnson's a very good basketball player, right?
Yes, he is.
And they've gotten some other contributions. Like, when you look at VMI in totality, their issues overall at the top of that list is not necessarily offensive production. And a lot of their issues have come running out of gas.
Yeah.
And defensively, just not being able to get stops. But they've been able to score it. Like, if you go back and look at their box scores, they're able to score it most of the time. And so if you're in a situation where you're without, 35 points, or frankly, like, guys that are playing that are just not 100%, this thing gets really, really interesting really quickly.
Hey, no doubt. And just from a 3-point perspective, it's the ultimate equalizer. It can be a game changer.
100%.
If VMI gets
They're firing them up.
Yes, and they fire them up. They're 4th in the country in 3-point attempts. So there's no doubt that VMI, they're going to throw up some 3-point shots. They're 4th nationally in 3-point attempts. So if you can get a TJ Johnson going, you can get a Linus Holmstrom going there in Asheville, watch out, because also UNCG, they struggle defensively out on the perimeter. They're 347th nationally in 3-point field goal percentage defense. That's not good.
No.
Not when you have a game against a VMI team that they're going to shoot from beyond the arc. And if you don't have Neely there, then how's that going to change things also, because you don't have the offensive production? So I'm telling you, this is going to be interesting. If Neely doesn't play, there's a good chance that VMI is going to win this game and advance.
Yeah, and how about that, coming off a 1-win conference season, and not trying to kick them when they're down, but, if UNCG is healthy here, I certainly at least think that this is a double-digit win for UNCG. But with those caveats, man, I mean, hey, it's starting already.
Yeah.
This tournament is going to be wild.
It is. And when you even look at it from like the perspective, hey, we know UNCG gets to the free throw line. So in that zone, is there a way that they can get to the free throw line? But without Neely, all of a sudden their statistics change because most of their free throw attempts are coming from Justin Neely. Right. And, if he's not in the game, then it's a complete game changer. So this one's going to be interesting. I think ultimately I'm going to take UNCG, but don't be surprised if VMI wins this game, because if they get hot, then all bets are off.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking UNCG here. But my caveat, I got to have a caveat here, is that's contingent on Neely and Younger playing. I think if those guys are able to go and be close to themselves, UNCG will take care of this game. But, and I sound like a broken record saying it, they have to get more out of Marville and Norgard. Those two have to step up if UNCG wants to be able to win a game and, frankly, be competitive past winning a game. Those two have to step up. And frankly, they got to get more out of Donald Whitehead too. Now, he is a massive key if Neely and Younger don't play, or either of them is not 100%. They're going to have to get a big game out of Donald Whitehead.
Yeah, they're going to have some type of perimeter production from the outside, because you can get maybe Clinton Afenda. He might be able to get hot. Valentino Pinedo, can he do some things, in the interior there? So that's going to be a big part of UNCG's opportunity to win this game. All right, we're going to have more previews of the other matchups here in the Southern Conference Tournament. So hit that subscribe button, follow button, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, including the iHeartRadio app. Until next time, may all your jumpers hit nothing but the bottom of the net.